Hey! Hey, where you going?
Boss, breakfast, gotta be Wendy's.
Wendy's breakfast burrito is everything you want, all rolled into one.
All right, so it looks like hurricane prep is in full swing here in Spring Hill. Haven't seen a lot of places boarded up, but the Target there, they definitely have been selling out of the water, and there's no milk in the thing, which I'm not sure why people would buy milk, which is perishable. I think we're still a good 24 to 40 hours away from really understanding what Hurricane Milton's going to do and how we might be impacted. But there's some cruise ships that are already being impacted. I definitely want to tell you about that. And then I have an update on the cruise passenger who was banned for bringing a dangerous weapon on board the cruise ship. And she's saying she kind of didn't mean to. It's an interesting story. So yeah, let's get to the office and we'll talk about that. All right, I am safe and secure here in the studio. Weather's not too bad outside right now, but Hurricane Milton, there's been a lot going on with it within the last 24 hours since I talked to you yesterday. It's become a hurricane. Yesterday it was, a hurricane, I think, when I published the video, but most of yesterday it was a tropical storm. It has become a full-on hurricane, and it intensified all the way up to a Category 5 hurricane. I think maybe it's slowing down, but it's also slowed down its path to Florida. I think it's going to be here about 12 hours later than what we thought yesterday. But right now, most of the predictions as to when it will make landfall, sometime mid to late afternoon into the evening on Wednesday on the west coast of Florida. And the cone right now, the cone of where it could go, Tampa, maybe 50 miles north, which would encompass us, maybe 50 miles south down to Sarasota. There's still some uncertainty as to where this thing is going to come ashore. We have had some cruise ships alter their itineraries based on Hurricane Milton. I just want to tell you the name of the cruise ships so that if you're on any of these cruise ships, you can check with your cruise line. Certainly if you're traveling to Central Florida, to the west coast of Florida, even to Southern Florida over the next few days, check with your airlines. It's wild down here. I see people not able to get flights out of Tampa Airport, rental car places with no rental cars because we're still just a few days beyond the last hurricane. It's interesting. There weren't a lot of people on the streets this morning. There weren't a lot of people in that Target this morning. I think people are starting to get set for what's coming. There are some guidances for my county too. I'll tell you about that, whether or not we're going to evacuate. But let me run through these cruise ships. Celebrity Reflection, Harmony of the Seas, Wonder of the Seas, Symphony of the Seas, Utopia of the Seas, Independence of the Seas, Grandeur of the Seas, Margaritaville at Sea Islander, and the Carnival Pride. If you're on any of these cruise ships or any other ships that are cruising out of Florida over the next 4 or 5 days, I would definitely be checking with your cruise line to see if your cruise has been altered. As I mentioned in that previous episode, I'm supposed to go over to Fort Lauderdale or down south to Fort Lauderdale for an event on the 10th, which is Thursday. And then I'm supposed to get on a cruise on the Sun Princess on Friday. I don't know if any of that's going to happen. So a lot of folks have asked, are we going to evacuate as Hurricane Milton continues to make its way toward the Tampa area? I live about 45 minutes north of Tampa. Some of the models show the eye of the hurricane coming right to Spring Hill, Florida. I tell you where we're at right now. There is no mandatory evacuation where I live at. I can put my address in. Here in Hernando County, there are a few zones of mandatory evacuation, particularly to the west of Highway 19. Those are the flood areas, and they are under mandatory evacuation because they're under threat from the storm surge. And then anybody that's living in a manufactured home or a mobile home, a trailer, the mandatory evacuation has gone out for them. My mom's going to come stay with us at our place. And like I said, right now, we're not under a mandatory evacuation. That certainly could change, but what we're hearing here is it's better if you're not under mandatory evacuation. It's better not to evacuate and leave the roads open and all that for people that are under mandatory evacuation. We're going to continue to watch it. We've got the stuff that we need at our house as far as food and water. We have extra batteries. I tell you what, all of these storms this year has really made me think about future storms. I don't have an inline generator. I don't have storm shutters per se. Our house has been standing for a long period of time. It's sustained and gone through several big storms. It should be okay, but who knows what's going to happen. We'll definitely take it as it comes. Some people said, well, I hear your decision about not going over to the hotel that you have booked at Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale early. We have a lot of family here. My mom's here. Jenny's mom is here. My brother's here. We've got kids here. We've got brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. And so I think it probably makes more sense, again, since we're not under mandatory evacuation, to hunker down here. That way we can, if nothing happens to us, we can help if something happens to our family members. I do want to tell you this, though. If you are being told to evacuate, evacuate. Don't try to ride it out. If you're being told to evacuate, and even if you're not being told to evacuate, make sure you do a big evaluation to determine whether or not you should stay or should you go. That's going to be a tough decision for everybody. We've struggled with the decision. And so again, if they tell you to evacuate, get out. Okay, now let's swing over to Carnival Cruise Line and let's talk about this cruise passenger that was banned for taking a dangerous item on a cruise ship. She's speaking out saying, there's been a misunderstanding here, and she's trying to clear it up. The passenger in question, her name is Kendra Gordon. She got banned along with the man that was in her video named Travis Rainey. Now, they were both in this video where she showed the dangerous item. It's a weapon, a pew-pew. She's trying to clear some things up. First and foremost, she wanted to make it clear that Travis wasn't even in the cabin at the time that she showed the weapon. She said that she had footage of Travis and she had edited the video together just to show that they were together on the cruise ship and that he had nothing to do with the weapon. It seems she's pretty bummed out that he got banned for life from Carnival. The other thing that she wanted to make clear is that she tried her best, it seems, to let Carnival know that she had the weapon. She said that the cruise wasn't the only bit of traveling that they were doing, that they had been doing some things on land, and that she had the weapon in her bag, and that she forgot that she had the weapon in her bag, and that she remembered that she had the weapon in her bag before she got her luggage. She went to a security officer and she said, hey, look, I think I have a weapon in my checked bag in my suitcase. She said they took her off of the cruise ship and that they went and spoke to law enforcement, and she explained to them that her bag probably had a weapon in it. And she said that they checked everything out and said, no, you're okay. She got back on the cruise ship. She went back to her cabin, and apparently when her luggage showed up, the weapon was still there. She put the weapon in her safe, and then that's when she made the video. What I can glean from what she's saying, and this is me putting my interpretation on it, sounds like she's saying that it was an oversight, it was an accident, that she did not mean to have that there, and when she remembered it, she tried to remedy the situation to the best of her ability, and still at the end of the day, the weapon ended up in her cabin and therefore in her safe. Of course, the hard part about all this is, why would you make a video about it? This seems to be a common trend of people making videos about things they shouldn't. Cruise lines are definitely on the lookout for this kind of thing on social media, and we've seen multiple stories of people getting in trouble for what they posted online. All the information I have about this really comes from Kendra Gordon's Facebook. That's where she's posted this. I haven't heard anything official from Carnival, but wow, what a wild story. And there's the update, man. Huge thanks to everybody that's reached out and offered us a place to stay. It really is really kind, and it just reminds me that it's a good time to remind everybody to be kind where you can be kind. We see a lot of that happen in emergency and in crisis, but there might be somebody that lives on your street right now that's lonely or sad or needs help. that you don't even think about because it's not a crisis moment. You know, just a nice reminder to reach out and love on people. And I sure appreciate the love that you guys are showing me. Be back tomorrow. I don't think anything's going to happen. So we'll be back tomorrow and talk more about cruising and more about this hurricane, and probably have some live shows tomorrow night. If you like the show, please hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe for more. This is Tony for La Lido. Look, until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.